Let's bring in forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Baden, who has done forensic work on many high-profile cases and testified at the O.J. Simpson trial. He is also a Fox News contributor. Dr. Baden, it's good of you to join us today. You said a couple of weeks ago this was likely strangulation. One, how did you know? Two, why? Why is it that the coroner in Teton County won't give us more information on how the strangulation happened, whether it was manual or whether a device of some type was used?
Well, the coroner knew on day one when the autopsy was done that it was strangulation and that it was a homicide. They delayed a couple of weeks before saying it was a homicide. There's no reason not to have said that it was strangulation. The reason I say that is because shootings, stabbings, blunt injuries to the head, they can be accident, suicide, homicide. You got to get more information before you come to a conclusion that it's only a homicide. Whereas with strangulation, you can't strangle yourself. You can strangle, but not to death. So that had to be known right away. And the reason you know it is because of the injuries to the skin and underneath the skin and to the hyoid bone and windpipe. So that's identified at the autopsy. They knew that right away for whatever reason. It's not clear from what the coroner said. They kept it a secret. The perpetrator knew what he had done. They wasn't hiding any information from the perpetrator. And one of the things that's attracted me so much to what's going on is how much information has been gathered by crowdsourcing rather than by the usual forensic science techniques. Right. They saw the argument on the street, in the roadway, they saw the van, they found the body. All came from crowdsourcing. And the more information is given out of even this strangulation now being documented, maybe somebody out there will be able to contribute additional information as to how this happened, since the coroner himself is going to say.
And if this was a manual strangulation, Dr. Baden, I mean, would we have evidence that it was Brian Laundrie? And you also wonder about the question, why is he just being charged with debit card fraud when, in fact, if they had more information, why wouldn't they come out and say this guy is wanted for murder?
I think that's more of a legal decision, because once you say that somebody is charged with murder, there are legal things that may have to be done depending on states, and here you have the state and the federal government. Normally, 99% of murders are state murders, and each state is different. This happens to be a federal murder because it happened in a national park. And I think the FBI are being super careful, which just delays releasing a lot of information that was known immediately. Why? It's not clear why they still keep the body there. We have hundreds in the big cities, thousands of murders every year. Nobody keeps bodies for a month or two and prevents the family from doing whatever they want to do to bury the body. The one thing, though, that I would mention is it's the type of murder that causes loss of consciousness within seconds, 5 or 10 seconds. This is a quick loss of consciousness. The family should know that Gabby suffered very little conscious pain or suffering. She lost consciousness and then was dead and not going to sleep. So for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, we're going to get to the legal aspects in moments, so I want to bring you back to the medical side here. And yes, we feel, awful for the Petito family. I'm just wondering, if this was manual strangulation, would Brian Laundrie have left behind significant evidence?
No, because they were together for weeks and months, so his DNA is going to be all over her body. But as was mentioned earlier, if you find DNA from a third person, that would be important. But if you find DNA evidence, whether it's on the skin, whether it's on the neck, whether it's under her fingernails or a rape kit, so what? You would expect it there when people have been together for such a long period of time. So that doesn't help. And the reason you focus on Brian is because he was the one that was seen with her all the time, and that can be an argument at trial. You know, couldn't the third person done it? And a jury will have to make a decision that, which so far would not be a problem.
And lastly, Dr. Baden, I mean, the coroner was asked if the body was found buried or if it was not found buried. He also wouldn't answer that question. Why not?
He was not. He came out of the box saying, "Look, according to Wyoming law, they can only release the manner of death and the cause of death." Why they decided not to delay so long in releasing the cause of death is not clear at all. They didn't need any additional information. The toxicology, whatever it is, doesn't affect the cause of death. It affects the circumstances of how it happened. So I think they don't get very many homicides out there, and they're just being super cautious, and which hopefully a crowdsource will be helpful again.
Yeah, Dr. Michael Baden, stand by.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.